Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the participation and the active engagement so far this morning, and I look forward to it continuing for this next panel discussion. We'll move right into the next session on shaping the market for investments in health, and really excited to be speaking on a number of these topics that build off of the conversations we've already heard this morning. So my name is Amy Lin. I'm the Deputy Director of the Center for Innovation and Impact at USAID. And we're a team that looks at business approaches to global health challenges. And one of our core areas of interest and activity is around market shaping and market-based approaches. I'm joined today on this panel by Amanda Glassman and Johanna Ralston. And really pleased to have both of these experienced and knowledgeable experts with me. Amanda is the Chief Operating Officer and Senior Fellow at the Center for Global Development. She has 20 years of experience working on health and social policy throughout the developing world, and her research focuses on priority setting, resource allocation, and value for money in global health. Johanna is the Chief Executive Officer at the World Obesity Federation. For over 25 years, she has been a leader in non-communicable disease advocacy, launching capacity-building programs to strengthen community-based cancer and tobacco control, and elevating cardiovascular disease and obesity on the global agenda. And of course, we've already had informal introductions of both of them from Trevor, so thanks for that. To set the stage for our discussion, I just wanted to provide some context on how we can think about market shaping, and especially how USAID has thought about it and participated in this, especially as we think about the topic for these last 2 days on country transitions, enabling strategic private sector engagement and partnerships, and developing sustainable solutions. It's helpful to think about the role that market shaping can play, essentially making the markets more efficient and more effective in delivering the life-saving health products, commodities, devices, and services that we need in low and middle income settings. This can increase access and coverage. It can provide more stability so that we can count on access to those products and services when we need them. And it can increase value for money for those global health donors and actors who need to make the most of their investments to meet these gaps in the needs that we've been discussing. When we think about the market, we can look at where it falls short, but we also need to understand where the root causes are for why those shortcomings exist. So we heard just recently about the cost of doing business, the cost of partnering, and we have to take those very seriously. So looking at transaction costs of engaging, even if they're not financial outlays, can be very important to seeing what are incentives to bring in private sector actors and the public sector as well. How do we increase information about the market in these low and middle income settings that may be new and seem a little bit risky for companies that haven't traditionally invested or operated there? And then how do we balance those risks, which may be perceived or may be real? And we have to address both of those in ensuring that buyers and suppliers have an equal balance of risk to make sure that it's dynamic that works for both of them. Traditionally, market shaping is focused on product markets that are dominated by a few large buyers and typically in infectious diseases. But as we think about these transitions, how do we expand to new areas beyond the focus on products and beyond maybe the big three, HIV, TB, malaria, and others, into thinking about non-communicable diseases, as Johanna will be speaking to. USAID has played different facilitating roles in multiple health areas, different types of market-shaping interventions and market signals, which include participating in and supporting ceiling price agreements, volume guarantees, advanced purchase commitments, co-payments, aligned strategies for engaging suppliers, and aggregating demand forecasts. And I rattle off that list of different types of market-shaping interventions to indicate the kind of breadth that we are speaking about and the creativity that we can bring to this space. We've also seen results from these activities. New products have gotten to market faster. Third-generation indoor residual sprays are now in use and on the market much faster than they would have otherwise, with an additional 15 million people protected from them and with lower risk of malaria as a result. We've seen more uptake. The implant volume guarantee for contraceptive implants has seen more than a doubling of coverage than before this guarantee was in place and more accessible pricing was available. And we've seen more stable markets. We heard yesterday from Gavi and their work in the immunization and vaccines market. We've also seen this around artemisinin combination therapies and antimalarials. So we can see real progress and advancement to our health goals, but we need to draw out what we've learned from these experiences as well. We need to make sure that we continue to do rigorous market analysis and identify that a problem is based in the market before we act, because there can be unintended consequences. We need to plan for programmatic and service delivery components, as well as making sure the product is available. We need to be able to coordinate with others, both on the public sector side, but also with the private sector components. And to that point, to really engage with the for-profit manufacturers and suppliers with whom we are working with. We need to make sure that the incentives and the interventions we're considering are actually in line with what they care about, their bottom line, to make sure it's valuable for all sides.